good news was, a couple weeks later, I was talking to some random person, and they said, "What group are you in?" And I said, "Reverse Osmosis," and they were like, "Oh, the ones who did Thriller!" And we were recognized, and now we've become a lot more recognized, which is exciting.
I've been trying to think of one because Kimmy just reminded me when I got here today, like, oh, by the way, you're showing memory. I know. Let's see. Oh, one I thought of, my first ever California earthquake, after having moved here from Wisconsin, where they do not have earthquakes, was during an RO rehearsal in... Yeah. What was it called? It's now called PSC. It used to be called SSM. Yeah, then it got demolished. It was called PSC, and before that it was called SSM. Room 141. We all of a sudden like started shaking violently, and like everything was like rattling all around me. Like, okay, that's weird. And people were like, "Oh, go stand in the doorway. That's what you're supposed to do." So yeah, that was my first California earthquake experience with people. Another memory in that same room, which I was going to share, that some of you may have heard, but we were sitting around shortly after we had finished callbacks, and we were having like our first several rehearsals, and we're like, we need to come up with a name for the group. And then we're like, okay, let's start writing stuff on the whiteboard that's in there. We're like, I forget some of the names, but they were all like bad music puns, like all those other groups that are out there. Like the so-and-so tones from whatever university. And then we were like running out of ideas. We're like, let's call ourselves Do Not Remove, because that's what it said on the music stands, Do Not Remove. And then we're like, no, that's not, let's call ourselves DNR 151 or 141, because it's like, nobody knows what it means. And then like, I'm sitting there drinking aquafina and like, how about Reverse Osmosis? And they're like, nah, that's a dumb name. We wrote it down on the board anyway, and then like we kept debating and like eliminating things slowly by majority vote, and like finally there was just a couple names left there, and then we like voted. We're like, yeah, Reverse Osmosis, maybe that would be good. And then the rest is history.
I'll try not to talk for a long time, because I have a lot of memories to share. 3 really quick ones. When, a little known story that I was telling to Ben and Haley earlier, before the group founded, Kimmy and I and John had joined a startup a cappella group with other freshmen at the university called Drastic Measures. Bad musical pun, which probably had a lot to do with us not wanting to do it, a bad musical pun for our second name. We had joined the group and had quickly realized that it wasn't going to work out because the people who started the group couldn't sing. So, true story. And so it's kind of like, oh, it's going to fall apart, you know, maybe we're going to quit. You know, we're not really sure. It was my freshman year, first semester. I was kind of like in a funk as it was. And so I want to give credit where credit is due, because in just a random conversation that Kimmy and I had, I never would have like quit the group and never probably would have tried to start my own. But she was basically like, okay, listen, if we want to take a group to the ICCAs ever, if we want to like make an album, if we want to do any of these things, we have to quit and start our own group. She's like, I can't do it without you, so you have to quit with me, and we have to do it together, and so we have to be quitters to be winners. And so that was, I was kind of like, I was still unsure, and she basically like kicked my ass and forced me to quit the group with her and start another one with her. And so that's the reason that Reverse Osmosis even exists, because Kimberly has balls. My second out of 3 memories is of all of the people who helped us at the beginning. My parents, my mom over there, who not only baked cookies for like the first concert, so there was like refreshments afterwards, so we could put on the flyer like refreshments will be served, so somebody would show up. But she also hosted the first couple of retreats at our house in Burbank. So we did, Burbank retreats, living room retreats. So we did the early retreats that were not the fun debaucheries that they are in subsequent years. But we did them in my living room, and we rehearsed and played board games or something like that. I don't know. And then all the people who also helped us fund the first album, Kimmy's aunt and all of the families who we all wrote letters to our families and got money and then just put it on our credit cards to get the first album going. And we were like, we're gonna create, a group that actually has money to pay for its own albums, and we're just gonna sell so many albums that the next one's gonna be paid for, and they're never gonna have money troubles again. Oops. I know that hasn't exactly worked out, but it's come a long way after 5 albums. And then my final memory was actually in the first full year, right after we had auditions, and we had started the tradition, I think, of the callback party. You guys remember that? Okay, so we were actually sitting around realizing the genius of the callback party. So you basically have auditions, and then you're gonna have callbacks. You've got all these people that you might want in your group. And you throw a party the night before callbacks so that you can meet them under the auspices of giving them the music that they need to study for the next day. But you need to come over and have a drink, talk to me. And we were realizing how much of an impact that it had had on the actual decision-making process, because having been able to meet the people and actually hang out with them a little bit, you have a better idea of who you might want to hang out with in the future and who not. Who were fun people and who were less fun. And I tell this story because as we realized the importance and the brilliance of the callback party, which we I don't even know who came up with that idea, but we realized that being in RO is not just about you as a singer. There's lots of good singers in the world, but the people that we took into RO and the foundation that we tried to start was that people in RO are good people. And that people that you want to be around, people that make you better, people that push you to be better and stronger. And so the callback party was really the start of that tradition, that we wanted RO people in RO. So, and then you guys all made that cut. So subsequently, you are all RO people, and I'm proud to know all of you. I'm going to wrap up with a gift. The founding members, headed by Kimberly, of course, because she is our organizational rock, we have, because RO people are so special, our gift from the founding members to the Alumni Association and given to the current group for the house as stewards of it. We have, while they're rapping, we have created an alumni plaque that will be put into the RO house that features each person's name as you graduate from the group and your graduation year from the osmosis. The 51, alumni 51, or 70 something, all of the alumni who have already, 64, all of the alumni who have already graduated, they already have their names immortalized on this plaque, and then there are extra spaces for all you current group people for when you graduate, and then we'll continue. We promise to, help you fund the next plaque with more names once it's there. So, our gift to you. Now the founding members would like to sit down finally and give it back to Kavika and Lisa.